Welcome to episode 52 of UTBB. I'm your host, Sharon Bush.
I'm your co-host, Kate the Bluegrass Skeptic.
I'm your other co-host, the sexiest man alive, Joe Kindick.
And I'm the sexiest man alive, Adam Fusion.
Oh, you had to one-up him, didn't you?
I'm going to put sound effects in for both of you on that.
God, have you seen this guy for real?
Hey,
I want to see you both naked. I have to say, I want to see you both naked before I decide.
Well, I've got a really
God.
So I don't know if that's going to go for anyone.
Welcome to Unbuckling the Bible Belt, folks, and Sharon's had a few too many.
No, she's just lonely.
I am lonely.
She's so lonely.
I am so lonely.
So what are we talking about tonight, Sharon?
Well, tonight we're going to be talking about nanobots and sci-fi versus religious fi.
Did you say nanobots?
Nanobots, yeah. You know, like on Finding Nemo, the big butt they look for?
I saw some at the nuns conference a few weeks ago.
You saw big butts at a nuns conference?
Yeah, one of them three.
And we're also going to be talking about Terminator churches.
So Terminator. Yeah. Come with me if you want to live.
Terminator.
Yeah, wonderful Mississippi law that they passed in the Senate, right?
Yeah. So
Mississippi,
now,
number 1 in religiosity, number 48 in education.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
if you look at somebody funny in church, you will be shot.
Well, I don't know about
just
that.
So you know, if you're in Mississippi.
It is pretty...
Oh, who the hell cares? The only thing that goes through Mississippi that's interesting are tornadoes.
They don't even have a lot of those in Mississippi.
Actually, they do.
Do they really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was in Tornado Alley.
You know what they don't have in a lot of Mississippi? Teeth.
Or education.
Or dentist.
But tons of racism, so like, good on
that. But they have a couple friends of ours, so we have to be careful what we say.
I know. But seriously, the best thing that ever came out of Mississippi happened like 50 years ago. It's where like jazz met blues music that turned into rock and roll, which some other white guy stole from the black people. Thanks, Elvis.
Actually, they all stole it from all the men stole it from a black woman. Actually, she's the one that started rock and roll. I saw a thing on her the other day, and
Ella Fitzgerald? Ella Fitzgerald?
No. This was
way before.
An African American woman. She was playing the guitar, dude. I mean, punking Chuck Berry's ass out, and she was like 10 years before him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was badass, dude. If I can find the link on Facebook, I'll show you.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Super pimp.
Well, stick around tonight, guys, and you'll learn about nanobots and Terminator churches.
And also, we'll be giving more about our wonderful interview we had tonight. Joe brought somebody on for skipping out last episode. Who'd you bring with us tonight, Joe?
His name is Warren Alan Tidwell. He's from the Humanist Services Group, and he's going to Ghana for a year for the Sontaba project. He is
to help the witches.
Yeah, to help the witches in Sontaba with Sontaba, excuse me. And he's an awesome human being. He's a big secular activist as far as like doing good things, good without God kind of things. And it was really an honor and a pleasure to have him on. He's a super fucking cool cat, and he's kind of dreamy, so definitely keep him on.
And we were really professional when we interviewed him, so
we actually were, except for me fucking up a joke. It was amazing. So
yeah, it was pretty amazing. So
thanks.
All right, guys, that's our show for tonight. We'll see you in a few.
All right.
Are you ready, kids? It's time to go to the Ark Park. Yeah!
Are you kids ready to pet the animals?
Yeah! And don't forget some of the fun rides. Oh, I want to go down Chum Falls first, Mom. Chum Falls? Is that a new ride? I haven't heard of that one. Oh, yeah, Mom, it's super cool. We get to go down a raft that looks like Noah's Ark, and we splash down through the bodies that are floating in the water with the sharks nearby.
Wow, Brenda Sue, that does sound fun. What about you, Henry? What are you going to do first?
I think I want to go play Clean the Poop Chute again. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, I don't know, Henry. You got awfully dirty last year playing that. And I don't think we brought an extra change of clothes for you this year like we did last year. I don't want to walk around the park and you smell like animal feces all day.
Your mother's right, son. That's really a job for a grown man, getting all of that poop out of the chute.
Oh, Dad, come on.
Now, Henry, don't argue with your father. You can always go play with your sister at the ancestral stomping grounds. That's a lot of fun, isn't it, Brenda Sue?
No, it's It's only the two of us there usually. And he always likes to try and poke me really hard.
Well, I guess I'll just take you two kids to the drowning pool then. That's always a good time.
Hooray!
I am Jim Helton, president of the Tri-State Freethinkers and regional director for American Atheists here in Kentucky. Answers in Genesis is spending $150 million to build a replica of Noah's Ark called the Ark Encounter in Williamstown, Kentucky. We at the Tri-State Freethinkers will defend their right to build such a park. However, we find this story immoral that's in the Bible and highly inappropriate for children. In addition to, the state government is giving them millions of dollars of tax incentives while allowing them to have discriminatory hiring practices. We at the Tri-State Freethinkers need your help. We want to raise enough money to put up billboards all over the area to let people be aware of how horrible this story in the Bible actually is. The more money we get, the more billboards we can put up in all different areas. In addition to, we want to do a counter-protest on their opening day and throw a huge party and invite all the freethinkers and atheists to come all over to show support for reason and logic and not superstition and myths. We appreciate all your support, and remember, all donations are tax deductible.
For further information, visit our website, tristatefreethinkers.com. That's tri-statefreethinkers.com. There you will find up-to-date information on our campaign at Indiegogo and a quick link button to take you straight over to the donations page. Remember, that's www.tristatefreethinkers.com.
Well, guys, it's your fan favorite, Joe Kende.
We missed you last week.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, guys, I was sick.
Well, at least you made it back for episode 52.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be leaving early, so I'm a douchebag. But I came bearing gifts.
Good.
Oh, what gifts do you have?
Well, joining us on the line is Warren Alan Tidwell, who's a badass humanist and badass human being all at the same time.
Is he sexy?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay,
He's
cool.
adorable.
Well, if he's a
He's got a good
badass.
man beard.
And those two different
He's got a good
things.
man beard. So that's good.
Points.
Warren, why don't you introduce yourself, buddy?
Well, my name is Warren Tidwell. I'm going to work for the Humanist Service Corps in Ghana this summer in July, and I'm from Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, War Eagle.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm a Vanderbilt fan, so I hate
I'm
football.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
no,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
We met through mutual people online, and then he had posted the other day that he was going to go, and I thought that was fucking awesome. I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you totally be on my podcast? That'd be swell. And he's like, yeah, I'd totally do it. So got him on here. You're part of the humanist. Damn it, I always forget that.
It's the Humanist Service Corps.
Service Corps. Damn it.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
division of the Foundation Beyond Belief.
Excellent.
So what's going to be your main purpose in Ghana?
Well, what the Humanist Service Corps was started by Connor Robinson a couple of years ago. He started originally the Pathfinders Project, which was a year-long thing where they went around the world, worked in various areas. A bunch of humanists did, and they settled on the camps of women accused of witchcraft in rural northeastern Ghana. And they've been, this will be the second year that the volunteers will be going to work. And it's from July of this year to July of next year, working in support of the local group there, Sontaba. It's a women's rights organization dedicated to, number one, eradicating the effects of the witchcraft accusations, which is the banishment, things like that. But
Right.
But also reintegrating the women who are currently there back into their villages. And it is they have various programs that Humanist Service Corps supports them on. Humanist Service Corps also has set up a medical clinic in Kukua, which is one of the camps there. And there's a number of ongoing projects, but basically the foundation's been laid. Now we're going to start the structure. My interest in it comes from the fact that I want to see, I see the long game, that it's in its infancy, and I hope to be, I'm privileged to be a part of it, and that I can get set to work there.
Well, that's awesome, because that's a very humanitarian thing to do.
Well, isn't there a lot of superstition in that area? I mean, wouldn't you be viewed as the devil white man coming in there?
Well, no, it's been interesting. I followed along online. I've done a lot of research on Ghana, of course, before going, and they're a very friendly culture, and they're also very friendly to white people, because it's my understanding from what I've read online, and I'm still getting information from Connor about what to expect. He's done a wonderful job putting together handbooks, and we're going to be doing online chats and things leading up to it for the other two volunteers who will be going over with me. But at any rate, these women live in, they are very superstitious, and they're allowed to exist there. But at the same time, so far there's not been any issue whatsoever that I know of. However, I will be receiving training, of course, in cultural appropriate things, and what to look out for, things like that. But they seem to be very receptive to it, from what I've read and what I've been told, and the things I've followed along online.
So I had a question. I know you have to reintegrate is a big part of this, I would think, and
right.
I would think part of that is not just making sure that women have what they need to reintegrate, but would it be also educating the village that initially kicked them out?
You fucking totally stole my question. I was just going to ask. Fuck you.
That's an excellent question. No, that's an excellent question, and it's true. They work with to create programs with Sontaba to take away the stigma of the witchcraft accusation, but also work with the local chieftains and villages, and it's a process of reintegration. This is something that has been going on for decades. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, dating back to the mid-1800s, these camps have existed, and it's going to be a multi-generational solution, but it is a beginning for what they're trying to do, and to end this effect. These women lose all of their human rights, and they basically just exist to survive in these camps, and it's a rather sad situation.
Now,
are these camps big? Is there a lot of women that are being outcast as being witches?
If I recall correctly from what I've been told, there are multiple camps, but there are over 1,000 women, and there are, from the video I saw from Sontaba, more arriving every day.
Wow.
And what do you have to do to reintegrate the women? What is it that they're missing that they need in order to begin the process to go back? Besides monetary and, financial, I mean, is there like a mental health side of this as well, or skills?
Well, see, that's something that I'm going to be learning about going over. I'm still preparing to go, and I will. That's a lot of the training and things that I'll be receiving early on, and I would love to be able to do that question. And when I come back, I would love to do another interview with you guys and tell you all about. And possibly while I'm there, I can't make that promise, but I'd like to do that and to give you more details like that.
That would be
sweet.
Yeah.
I have a question. Like, what does it take to be branded a witch? I assume it's just scapegoating for whatever bad situation is there. And we kind of talked about it last week on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Nigeria. Is that what we were talking about it? Or
well, we talked about Ghana.
Yeah, mostly. We did talk about.
This was about Ghana with those women, but also I'm sure Warren's familiar with Child
yes.
Safe Child Africa, I think it's called Child Safe Africa. With the children witchcraft, it's like that plagues a large part of Africa. It seems like.
Right. There are a lot of that, and I saw where the one of the videos that went around, and now that group has, of course, helped him to better. And she's I don't know if the girl in the video is adopting him or whatever, but yeah, it is widespread, and it all takes someone to say, someone dies in the village, someone has a dream, they say, in my dream, they told me they were a witch. Well, then, at that point, there are trials that are done to determine their innocence or guilt.
Oh, wow.
And what that entails is, from the videos and things I've seen, is a chicken has its throat cut, and it flops around on the ground, and depending on what position the chicken lands in, whether it's on its side or up in the air, their guilt or innocence is determined. And regardless of if it says they're innocent, it doesn't matter. The accusation is enough, and they are banished.
Yeah. That's kind of like the whole Salem witch trials deal, that we had
Absolutely.
500 years ago. I mean,
So
and then it's hoodoo mixed in with it, sounds like. I mean, they are Christian, a lot of them, like with these shamanistic tendencies mixed in it too, don't they, in Ghana?
Yeah, Ghana is an extremely religious country, one of the most religious in the world. And yes, there are. In fact, they have to undergo the same type of trials when they arrive in camps. And if it says that they're guilty, the chicken will then make a concoction from the blood that they must drink. And if it kills them, which of course it doesn't, then they're guilty. And if it doesn't, then they're innocent and they're allowed to come in and live in peace.
Oh, jeez. So even
That's
then, they
terrible.
face their own peers that they're being shunned to, and then they're like, oh, whoa, wait. We still have to make sure you're not a witch.
Is
Well,
this
yeah,
And you would think, with what they went through with all of that, they wouldn't want to put others through that. But I guess
well, they
not.
don't. It's not necessarily the women there. They have the priests, they have their shrines, and they still have the same type of superstition because of. I mean, it's been so prevalent for so long. I saw a video where they asked the women in the camps if they believed in witches, and one of them said, "I cannot say for sure yes or no if there are witches. All I know is I'm not a witch."
Wow.
and it's women, it's not men that are being accused, right?
Well, in this particular instance, it's just women now. I have read of like warlock accusations, things like that, but I'm not familiar with that. In this particular situation, yes, it is only women.
I think Julian Sands is the only warlock that's actually out there.
You forgot about Dumbledore.
No, he was a wizard.
That's the same difference.
No.
Wizards have cool hats.
Now, I'm curious about something, and this may be like way too much information, but how do you handle like all the women's feminine needs while they're out there? Because that's got to be an issue.
Wow.
Well, no, that is an excellent question, and I read an article today that I believe Connor shared online where, and this is not where I'm going, but it is in some area, and I do not recall, they're banished to the cattle sheds, and it is a horrible way that they're treated. Now, again, something I am not familiar with that I will learn more about as the training goes on, but that is a huge problem. I have friends in Western Uganda, and the girls there, they miss so much school because of that, and
Right.
it's such a horrible stigma, that they with that as well. So yes, I imagine that is a very big thing there.
Probably smells like a cotton mine. Damn it, not cotton, copper. Fuck that joke up. Fuck.
Yeah, you really did.
God damn it.
Well, you
Sorry.
were thinking about tampons, and so...
I was thinking about all the tampons in my car that we haven't distributed yet.
Oh, you ass. You haven't distributed...
No, dude, there's tons of them. There's literally tons of tampons in my car.
No.
And you're working all these extra hours, so.
Oh, it's been ridiculous.
Like, that's an excuse.
Yeah, I know. Lame. But, so you're heading out July 1st. You're going to be gone from a year from your wife and family, which
Yes.
is pretty amazing. We got to give her some props because we were talking about her earlier. And you need to send her some mad shout outs over the airwaves for the 8 people that listen.
Yeah, really. I mean, you're leaving for a whole year from your family to do this?
Yes, I will have access to video conferencing from time to time, and I will have, of course, email and messaging apps. I've been told that we can use. From what I've been told, there are like 3 cellular networks there, and they, of course, they're going down all the time, so you have to swap SIM cards in and out of the phones. And one of them will work, but I've been told what apps to download where I would be able to message. I do have to give props to my wife because as much as I wanted to do this, she's the biggest reason that I am, because when I was having doubts in the beginning about planning on going, she read about it and studied up on it. And her biggest point was there are military wives who spend far longer away from their husbands, and they don't get to communicate near as much as we will be able to, and you're not in a war zone getting shot at. So there's that. But this is not, like I've mentioned earlier, through the disaster relief in the past and the various things that we've been involved in, she's the biggest reason I've been able to do any of it. And that's not just trying to score brownie points, that's the truth.
Oh, that's excellent.
Now, I have a question for you. I have a background in education. What type of opportunity, would there be any opportunities for somebody like me who would, be willing to go there and be a teacher, be an educator?
I would think absolutely. They take applications. The way that I got involved right at the end of the application process when I received a message from a friend, and it's from October to December. You have to apply. They want, of course, a professional person in the supervisory position, a couple of references and things like that. And then you do I did a Skype interview with Connor from Ghana, and I was interviewed by someone from the foundation. Turns out it was Dr. Dale McGowan, who is a wonderful, wonderful human being, and he's written a lot of books on raising free thinkers and secular humanist children. That being said, then there was the process where they review all of that and then make a decision based upon that. And I was fortunate enough that I was chosen. But I would encourage anyone who feels that they could be an asset there, has a heart for service and a passion for humanism, to apply.
Sounds great.
Definitely. So if people want to contribute, where do they need to go?
You can go to, there's links from foundationbeyondbelief.com. There's the Humanist Service Corps, CORPS.com that you can visit. You can find the Humanist Service Corps on Facebook, and I would encourage everyone to do so, to follow along. There's a number of stories. They write blogs through appliedascensions.com, and as I will be as well while I'm gone. And there are a number of updates and ways that other humanists can help support this awesome, really, I believe, one-of-a-kind program that really needs to grow and be supported by this community.
Wow, that is fantastic.
I found a closed group. That's the support group. Hold on. I'm trying to get this here on the Book of Face.
Yes, the closed group is people that I have added. That
I got it. I found it.
Network.
Okay,
yeah.
I found it. Yeah, just type in Humanist Service Corps into Facebook. I'm going through the mobile app right now, and it's a non-governmental organization. So like that shit. Oh, Jennifer Lovejoy's on there. Sweet. Cool. Got 4 other friends on here. That's pretty awesome.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us tonight, Warren.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys putting the word out, and hopefully people will continue to support it, and it can continue to grow. And the, it's based upon the tenets of secular humanism. And that,
we look forward to having you back on the show so we can learn more about this, especially if you can get there and record with us again, or come back in a year and re-record with us.
Well, Connor did his Scathing Atheist from there. I mean, so
yeah.
It was a couple of Scathing Atheist interviews from there. So it was a couple of bad spots, but it wasn't too bad.
Well, yeah, I think you have to get in. If I'm not mistaken, he had to get into probably Tamale, one of the bigger towns up there, to do that. But if I'm able to, I would.
This month of April on UTBB Podcast, it is sci-fi. Star Trek, Star Wars, War of the World, Firefly, Doctor Who, Total Recall, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Lost in Space, The Walking Dead, Minority Report,
Logan's Run, Metropolis, Mad Motherfucking Max, Riddick, Underworld, Farscape, Aeon Flux, Fifth Element, Johnny Mnemonic, The Terminator, Lost in Space, X-1, Babylon 5, Stargate, Eve, Gemini Wars.
Can you smell what the Schwartz is cooking? Versus religious bullshit. The earth is flooded in 40 days.
Walking on water, raising the dead, unicorns, dragons, talking asses, oh my.
Bread from the sky, party in ocean, frogs falling from the sky, move the sun back 10 degrees, flat earth, moon produces light, unmoving stars, getting water from a rock, haunted vaginas, conquering a fortress with shitty horns.
Oh, and ostriches are asshole parents.
Unacceptable!
Who does fantasy best, Jesus or Doctor Who? And which one is more believable? So stay tuned for the epic discussions begin this April. And through April 28th, patrons who donate $5 or more to our podcast will get a personalized postcard of one of our co-hosts cosplaying in their favorite sci-fi character. Don't miss out and contribute today at www.patreon.com/UTBBpodcast. Welcome back, everybody. This next segment, we're going to be discussing something very, very interesting. So we're all familiar with the term Warriors for Christ, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're out there for that spiritual war to fight Satan and his horrible influences and lead on.
I have the shoes for that.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have the...
Well, so we all know that it's pretty much like a metaphor, right?
Yes.
We all pretty much agree it's a metaphor for the most part. But the problem is that, as of this past week, Mississippi made it a literal warriors for Christ. Like
security.
Yeah, for real. Security. They okayed guns in churches, which, I mean, people could probably do anyway, you know, with
as long as
concealed carry. But here's where it's bad. Let me just put it out there. Basically, these folks can decide who's going to be, church members are going to be assigned to security, and they'll get to carry concealed weapons without permits and are protected from legal liability if their actions result in death based on a designation of a justifiable homicide. It's basically the same thing we give to, like, police officers on duty.
No, they're going to be man in the sky marshals.
Oh, are we talking about super? Fuck.
What the hell was that?
That was my
Starship Troopers. That's what happens when I drink. I can't think.
Yeah, that's
Starship.
That's one of the
Troopers.
best things about drinking is that you can't think.
Are we talking about Starship Trooper Sky Marshals here?
No, we're talking about the guys on airplanes who carry guns and you don't know who they are.
Oh, I thought we were talking about sci-fi stuff because that was what we were talking about.
But at least the Sky Marshals, you know, are permitted and trained.
And they also carry frangible rounds that won't penetrate, even though explosive decompression won't happen in an airplane like that.
But in a church, with people screaming and running when shots start ringing out.
Explosive decompression in church.
Basically, yeah, Christ's Holy Spirit's going to come pounding out into somebody's chest with the full force of whatever arm that they have. And they're not going to really have any major consequences for it. I mean, they've even got the code out, and it says it's to provide that killing a person while acting as a participant of a church or place of worship security team is justifiable homicide. That's disturbing.
Very.
I wonder how far it's going to go. I mean, is it just guns that it's justifiable homicide? Or can you, like, start crucifying people on the front lawn? It's justifiable homicide.
But what if you're caught with the spirit and you start flailing around and shit and they think you're nuts and they start shooting you? I mean, what's Jeebus going to do in that situation?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, these primitive Pentecostal churches, whenever you start speaking in tongues and falling on the floor and...
He's a terrorist!
It's just, I think they have this idea, like, you know, the NRA's attitude is, you know, more guns means less likely something's going to happen because people are there who are armed, and we already know statistically that is very, very, it's not even flawed logic. It's an outright fucking lie.
The more guns, the more injuries from guns.
The higher the risk, exactly.
Right.
People go, well, law-abiding citizens, well, yeah, good guys with guns are great until there's an actual situation. And I'm sorry, any place you go that has a high concentration of good guys with guns, studies and statistically have shown from incidences, you know, that are recorded every year through police rolls and hospital rolls and everywhere else, there's a higher rate. There's a higher risk.
Or kids with guns. I mean, churches are full of fucking kids.
Yeah.
And kids are like, guns? Yay, let's play cops and robbers. And I can remember playing cops and robbers in the front of my church, and now you have access to a real gun. How long before somebody's really dead?
Or cowboys and Indians.
I mean, how would you feel, Sharon, if, like, at your school, they assign teachers under this type of a provision? Security.
Well, as long as it was me. No.
Instead of bringing in trained security professionals, they just tell your next door neighbor, Miss Kendrick, oh, hey, sure, you want to do this? You kind of know how to load and fire a gun? Okay, here. And then you have an incident. You know, I just don't think it's a wise idea to just
that's the issue I have with all of these laws, that I am for having security in any situation that you feel you would need security. Any place where a large group gathers, especially one, you know, of a religious bent, because people of different religions want to kill you. But the thing that they're missing out on is this isn't goddamn Rambo. You know, you're not going to know. Firing a handgun under stress is one of the hardest things in the fucking world to do, which is why people don't carry handguns into combat.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You're very.
It really pisses me off every time I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're going into a fucking combat sit with fucking pistols. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You can ask my wife. I bitch about that every fucking week.
Well, quit watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you dumbass.
That show's awesome, dude. What the fuck are you smoking?
And there's a reason you don't go deer hunting with a Glock.
Well, it's
You can go
inaccurate.
with a 44 mag. Well, it's 25 yards. I mean, a 44 mag, you get kill velocity at 100 yards. But no, that's not the point. But that deer's also not shooting back at you either. I mean, firing a handgun accurately. You look at police shootings. There's never, I don't think in the history of police shooting, well, there might have been one or two. But the average guy is not going to pump 2 rounds into the same hole, which has been done. It's pretty badass. But you look at the average police shooting, they're expelling 45, 50 rounds. Like that kid that got killed with the hatchet outside of the theater here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
108 rounds at this kid. Not even in this kid, at this kid.
Yeah.
I think they only hit him
ridiculous.
13 times. That's ridiculous accuracy.
Yeah, it's like, where did all the other bullets go?
What did I just say?
In a closed situation, like a small classroom, or in this case, a church, where are those bullets going to go?
Exactly.
Right?
Who's going to accept that liability?
How many people are going to be willing to immediately know? How many people in a state of panic are going to know to immediately lie down?
Not many, because they were already freaked out.
They're going to be running. And then some dumbass who's not had any training, what's he going to do? He's going to think it's a fucking Terminator 2 movie and just start firing off into at the bad guy, not paying attention to little Bobby Sue running across this line of fire. I do not understand how this is passed. And it passed not just their House, it passed their fucking Senate too.
The theory is that there won't be another Charleston, but the fucking reality is that there's going to be a Little Rock or a Montgomery where some crazy nutbag has free access to a gun and murders an entire church, not just the people that are there after hours like they did in Charleston. Yeah. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. And the NRA is going to be standing there just like they are now, pushing for more gun laws, not less. I don't understand it.
Well, if Obama hadn't taken all of our guns, we wouldn't have to do this.
I know. I remember the day I was sitting in my recliner when Obama came for my gun. It was hard to give up.
Not.
Probably from my cold dead hands.
He's even actually addressed that, hasn't he? I think he did a speech not that long ago. He said, "I know they all said I was coming for your guns." And he's like looking at everybody like, "I didn't come for your guns." He's even made that clear.
Well, there's a 2-point aspect to this story. The other aspect is that these people could just pray for guidance and protection, but they know that it doesn't very well work. But
what kind of faith is that?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's God's will. Oh, shoot, he's going to shoot me in the head. Oh, man, he's going to shoot me in the liver, and I'm going to die a painful death over the course of 3 days. But that's okay.
Now, liver's pretty quick. A gut shot.
I'm going to heaven. That's what I never understood. People are so scared of death.
And if it's God's will, why are you scared of it? Why don't you just welcome it?
Why are you even scared of death? That's my whole point.
You know what's funny? I quit being scared of death when I quit believing in God, which is really
me too.
I'm not scared of death at all.
Because you're not.
I'm not worried about going to hell.
I love Christopher Hitchens' take on it that life is a party, and I'm just enjoying the party. It's amazing. But back guns. But why don't the people just raise their hands and say, shoot me, I'm going to see Jesus? Why do they cower in fear?
Exactly.
A big raw man to Sharon for going there.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's the ultimate question. I hate to say it. They say, more guns, like we pointed out, and many studies have more guns equals higher risk of incidences. We already know this law is not looking into training. It's just saying you designate people as your security team, and that's it. And they don't even have to have a permit. What really pisses me off even more than the fact that they're upping the liability and chances and probability of people being hurt, even just by accident, during a service. This is showing religious favoritism.
It is showing religious favoritism.
Did they approve it for mosques also?
No,
I doubt
probably not. Well, I don't know. It says church, so I think a mosque should qualify. But it's just, for me, it's just like, why do they get out of not having to have concealed weapon permits, but your everyday citizen does?
Well, don't speak too quickly, because if I'm not mistaken, I read that article and it said that women could carry concealed weapons in their purses before this law was enacted, and men could carry concealed weapons without a permit, and it was all legal. I'll go back and...
You know what I mean? That's the
right.
whole idea of it is, why would they even mention having permits if nobody had to have one to begin with?
I'm just down for no permits at the Republican National Convention.
No shit. That was the greatest bit of trolling I've ever seen.
That was fantastic. Did y'all see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Tell me about it.
I guess it was not a GoFundMe. Whether it was like a Kickstarter or something, or something like that.
Well, yeah, it was something to sponsor the bill that everybody could, all the Republicans could carry handguns into the Republican National Convention.
Yeah,
and how do you?
I think they should push for it. Yeah, I don't see Trump really wanting that to happen.
No, not at all.
Cruz would be fine with it. I think Cruz would be fine with it. I don't think Kasich would be overly fine with it. But I know Trump wouldn't have that shit. He's not a dumbass like people seem to think.
No, he's really not.
He's not a total dumbass.
No, he's not a dumbass. He's catering to the crowd that he wants specifically. I mean,
anybody that has any kind of xenophobic fear, yeah, that's his crowd.
He's serving them the meal they want to eat.
But the point is also as well is that this is America. You have a right to have guns. Be a responsible gun owner. If you need one, everybody should probably have one for home protection. I believe that.
I disagree with that.
I mean, the studies show you got a gun, your chances of bad things going wrong increase.
You guys want to hear a terribly funny story?
Sure, tell us a story.
My friend was. There are two. One's a liberal Christian lesbian. The other one's also a liberal agnostic lesbian. They're a couple, but the Christians say we should get a gun for self-defense or whatever. And the one girl was like, only if you promise to keep it unloaded in the house and we get some training. She's like, okay, that's good. Well, the other day, she was showing something to her, and the gun fucking went off. And she shot it in the fucking house. And luckily, it was only a .22 with fucking those little snake bite rounds and ones, which is fucking terrible. You're not going to fucking defend your house from anybody with that motherfucker anyway.
No, you shoot somebody with that, they're going to keep coming at you more pissed off.
Pissed me off. Now I'm going to fucking kill your whole family. I was just going to kill you, but now you've shot me with this fucking BB gun. I'd be fucking pissed. But I was just fucking appalled. I mean, how fucking stupid. And she's like, don't say anything to her unless she brings it up. And I said, if she does, I'm going to make her cry. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to fucking impart on her how fucking stupid that was. But everyone shouldn't have a fucking gun. I'm sorry. I mean,
well, that's not what that. That's not what that.
And that's not what I'm buying either. But at the same time, if you live in a bad goddamn area in Nashville, it's okay to have a damn shotgun behind your bedroom door, as long as there's no kids around to get your hands on it.
But still, even you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. This all goes back to training. You're not going to wake up groggy. I mean, unless adrenaline kicks in. But then, once adrenaline kicks in, your body does crazy shit. That's why there's so many unfair, or I don't want to say unfair, like just unintentional murders after fucking high-speed chases, because you're so amped up, your body reacts to see somebody's hand move, and you put 40 rounds on a cat who was just grabbing his license registration. I think people...
Well, I'm talking about somebody coming through my front door. I'm not talking about being a cop. I'm talking about somebody coming through my front door. There's a difference.
Yes, there is a difference. I agree. But those guys are trained fucking professionals that train for the situation, and they still fuck up. How's your average Joe not going to fuck up? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I wouldn't say I wouldn't fuck up at all. That's why I go with the 12 gauge that's got bird shot and an open choke. And so anything that comes through my door is getting hit.
That's why Jesus had holes in his hands. It's an easy target that's not deadly.
Oh, wow, you went there.
I've got a Mossberg 590. I've got an M9 bayonet on the end of it. I'm going to stab you in the chest and pull the trigger so my triple-aught buck rips you in half. That's how, if you come in my front door, that's how. But that's how I roll. I mean, that's what's going to happen. But that round's not chambered. I mean, I'm keeping a loaded but not active weapon in my house.
And there are also hunters out there that are responsible as well. I have nothing against hunters. I really don't.
I'm just saying the statistics don't lie, guys, though. It really doesn't. Yeah. Good guys with guns.
I know.
Yeah, it's...
Okay?
I'm with you on this.
There's more accidents. I mean, it's just what it is. And it's true. Like Sharon was saying, you know, Mississippi already has immunity from prosecution if you use a gun to defend your home or if your personal safety is threatened. But that's kind of vague in my view. I don't know what the standard for personal safety is. But one of the principal purposes of this Church Protection Act, by the way, that's what it's called. You can look it up. They're going to expand it. It's literally saying if you're going to use a gun to defend your house of worship, you're immune from criminal penalties.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit.
Now, because one, like I said, you know, it's just, oh my God, we already know this is just really, really not well thought out. This is
who wants careless. To put money on how long it's going to be before an Arabic person is shot dead outside a church?
Yeah, on the sidewalk. That's why I don't agree
who
with
wants
that.
To put? What's the over/under?
Oh, I'd say 30 days.
We already have accidental shootings in churches, though. So,
but it won't be accidental anymore. It'll be intentional. They'll intentionally be shooting this area.
It's legal. It's going to be.
That's what I'm saying.
And then at the same time, I'm just saying it's an unfair, biased standard that they're offering to churches versus the rest of the public. If it's not a good idea to let the rest of the public be immune from criminal penalties, why the fuck are you going to let churches be immune from criminal penalties?
Because they have Jeebus.
Bullshit.
We all Jeebus makes it all better.
I think the FFRF should take this shit to court. This is straight up bias, discrimination. I mean, as well as this really ill thought out rationality. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, you're talking about taking on the state of Mississippi, and that's a whole nother game.
Oh, please. I could take on the state of Mississippi, and I don't even have my lawyer's degree. My Juris Doctorate.
What's his name? Wallace. That Governor Wallace. Was that Mississippi or Alabama?
No, that was Alabama.
That was
Alabama.
There's another one in Mississippi that was similar. Mississippi cowards. They give up.
They don't even need to give up. They're not smart enough to defend themselves.
They gave up. They all gave up.
They're not even smart enough to defend themselves. Come on. You got to have more than 3 teeth in your head to be able to defend a court case.
Yeah.
Well, Mississippi and Alabama are coming up, you know, head and head on obstructing people's civil rights day after day.
Where do Nick and Zandy live? Do they live in Alabama or Mississippi?
They're
I can't remember.
Alabama.
Okay.
Bama.
Which is also where Warren is from.
Yeah, Warren is from Alabama.
Well, boy, he's going to be going way far away now. I wonder if it'll seem that much different.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure
I lived in Alabama for 2 years.
Yeah. Some of those areas down there, they make you wonder. They do make you wonder. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we've already had accidents with guns in churches anyway. And now they're just going to complete. What recourse does it give families? You know, if somebody's accidentally shot in crossfire, they're immune. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're sorry about little Johnny.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem with religion right there. Well, one of the myriad problems with religion. But when, when the liability's on an invisible, an imaginary friend, at what point, how are you going to take God to court for allowing that to happen? Yeah. Is that going to be a blessing from God if you get shot in church?
And that's what I mean. Ultimately, I think besides this being bad legislation, I think the biggest thing here, and it's like I was saying, this is straight up favoritism. This is governmental favoritism.
Oh, absolutely.
It definitely blurs the line between church and state.
Well, again, we're talking about Mississippi.
Yeah, and I really think Freedom from Religion should take this bad boy on and just take him to court with this, because this is just not fair, Okay, Mr. Smith, while you're at home, you can still face some legal liabilities, if you shoot somebody on your property.
This is Mississippi.
Not permit, but once you're in church, sir, if you shoot somebody, you're good. So just invite them to church next Sunday and take them out that way.
You're talking about a group of people who doesn't mind being 53rd in illiteracy in the country.
53rd.
I mean, seriously.
That's roughly hyperbolic.
47th. I'm sorry.
Wait. You can't use hyperbolic. Nobody in Mississippi knows what that means.
Oh, God.
Isn't that one of them needles, a hyperball?
Yeah.
Hyperbolic needle?
Hyperbolic needle.
Oh, shit. Well, anyway, folks, don't go to church in Mississippi unless you're of the same cloth, color,
no
and
doubt.
creed. I'm just warning you now.
I mean, all of those. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't want. I would. Okay, say you're a Syrian refugee or a Christian Syrian refugee. Would you fucking go to church there? Fuck no, dude.
If they don't know what the laws are, they might show up, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
And you know, in Arabic, if they speak Arabic, Allah and God are the same word.
Yeah.
So you say Allah Akbar, which is what you would say if you were a Christian.
Yep.
God is great or whatever. They're going to fucking shoot you, dude.
Yeah, they're going to think you've cut something on underneath your Sunday's finest dress.
Exactly.
This is horrible.
Yeah, this is
anyway, just be aware. They now have Terminators for Christ, Warriors for Christ, in the very literal sense of the word.
Hey, they're the T2000 BCEs.
And you don't even have to have the shoes for it.
Oh my gosh.
I like the hot Terminator. I'm sorry. It was cool.
Oh, yeah, she was
T3.
Yeah, she was hot.
When she made her boobs bigger?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty hot.
All right.
Christiana Loken, that's her name.
Well, let's get away from tits and guns.
No, never. Tits and guns.
We're getting away from tits and guns.
The Joe Kindick story, tits and guns.
And we'll get on to something more fascinating, which is religious sci-fi versus real sci-fi. We're going to see which one's more believable.
Oh, God.
Nanites. Which
Oh, come on, Adam.
They could actually eventually genetically help your tits get bigger without paying for the surgery. So
you have my attention.
Talk about that next. Yeah.
All right, we'll be talking about that next.
And out.
Out.
Are You My Mummy? Some of the most famous words from Doctor Who makes me think of nanobots. How about you, Kate?
Oh, all day long. That was such a great episode.
It was. And at first, we had an argument because I thought it was David Tennant, but it really is Christopher Eccleston that was in that
yes, it was.
episode.
Yep.
So I have to turn in my Doctor Who card because I really, really thought it was David Tennant. So here's my sonic screwdriver.
Yep, you'll have to try and earn it next week's discussion.
But we had been reading about nanobots this week that were able to cure cancer in mice. And they used zinc bubbles. They used a zinc reactive metal that turned to bubbles in the mice's stomach and caused the nanobots to become active, and then it targeted the cancer cells, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were going to talk about tonight. And it's not so much just the nanites, but we're going to be talking basically, as we were telling people last week, we're going to kind of have this month as sci-fi, science fiction versus religious fantasy. You know, science fiction fantasy versus religious fantasy. And we thought, well, how can we compare concepts? And like the closest thing they have, you know, in religion, and I think this would even span for like, well, I don't know. I think Islam does sponsor quite a bit of medical understanding, if I remember right. At least that's what they claim. But regardless, people always say the power of prayer. So that's kind of like invisible God, Holy Spirit cooties being prayed into your body telepathically, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to heal you versus science fiction's use of nanobots. And what's more plausible? Which one is more likely to benefit humanity? As you were saying, we've already started to come up onto that level of scientific discovery where we've actually created nanobots to start helping with healing.
And I would love to see these used in humans, but I'm sure we're years from that because of the FDA, which is a good thing, I suppose. But sometimes I wish the FDA wasn't in the way. We could just start using things that worked on mice in human trials, and then we could see if it worked or not, and then go from there. But we're years away from nanobots being used in humans, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do it soon.
Oh, so these things won't fix my liver.
So quit drinking.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. I mean, we don't know how far it could go, because, I mean, we've seen, like, with the Are You My Mummy, we could see what could go wrong with nanobots in this particular episode, if people aren't familiar with Doctor Who. But basically, there was a bomb that went off. No, it wasn't a bomb.
No, it was
basically this an alien
ship
pod thing landed, and it had these nanites in it that were, it was basically a medical pod of sorts, and it landed on top of that boy, remember?
Right, and he had on a gas mask, and they couldn't determine what part was boy, what part was gas mask, so they just replicated him the way they figure out. But in the end, they ended up in the hospital, and they helped a woman who went in with an amputated leg. She walked out with 2 legs, but she was infected with the nanites that could not determine whether she was human or gas mask, so she walked around.
She had the gas mask.
Yeah. She ended up with the gas mask, but they fixed her.
And they were all going on mommy,
Oh, my mommy.
Turns out, you should all really watch this episode. It's called The Empty Child, and it's really neat how the nanites eventually figure out how to construct everybody the way they're supposed to be, because they didn't know they were alien nanites. They weren't like from humans, so they didn't know what they were working with. And then you got episodes like on Star Trek, Next Generation, original Star Trek, Voyager. They have this instant you ever see where I've got a scrape, and then Gates McCad, Dr. Crusher, she comes along with the little whirly thing,
dermal regenerator.
Thank you. I can never keep all the terms right. And then boom, it's fixed. Or she's like, in about a few more minutes, it'll be back to what it should be. That's using nanite technology. And we actually are not far away from that either. We have it to the point now where we can make not burns, but certain injuries heal about 30% faster, which is badass.
And I think we're not far from nanites being able to tackle cancer and burns and things that we can't deal with right now. I mean, they're doing it in mice, so that mice aren't that far off from human trials. And
They've been doing it in cockroaches, too. They did one about a year ago where they used little devices using DNA strands that when they inserted them, knew that they needed to make themselves into a box with a controllable lid. And inside the box was this special type of, special kind of molecule or something that would bind to another type of cell, and they could control when it opened and released and everything else. I mean, this is like real stuff. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, we got religious fantasy, science. Religious science is pray.
And people have been praying for thousands of years, and it's not evolved any at all. It's the same.
Have we seen any amputees get their limbs back?
No, we have not.
Saying. And why wouldn't they? Oh, because God had a plan, right?
Right. And I mean, people are going to argue that we're arguing science fiction here, but as Asimov has proved, science fiction one day becomes science fact. It only takes time.
Exactly, and that's why we were talking about the nanites tonight. So you see all this magical, almost instant healing, kind of like what you'd see in a Benny Hinn, of laying on of hands and the person's healed, and in science fiction it's a wave of a certain type of instrument or an injection of a certain type of serum, and then they start to rebuild and be healed by things that were injected. At least science fiction, they were able to try and make it a reality, much like, when we have talking phones on our wrists, like Get Smart, you can talk on people on your wrist.
Or the shoe. We had the talking phones and the shoe.
I want the shoe.
The shoe
I
phone.
Want the shoe. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
I have dogs, so it wouldn't be that cool.
Oh, just watch where you walk. You'll be okay. But no, I think it's amazing. And then we have prayer, and they've done so many studies on prayer. They don't show any change in atmospheric, environmental conditions around people. They don't. They do show, I think, blood pressure kind of lowers down because it's almost like a meditation, I think.
Well, they've shown that people who are prayed over do less well than people who are not prayed over, because people who are prayed over expect some supernatural intervention in their healing process, and they don't get it, so they don't heal as quickly as people who think they're not being prayed over. So prayer is actually detrimental to the healing process.
Exactly. And it looks like, how can you move forward in scientific discovery with something that is supernatural? At least with
a lightsaber.
Hey,
a lightsaber would solve everything.
They have a guy that's constructed a lightsaber. They do exist. Not in the coolest forms that we've seen on the big screen, but a man has created a lightsaber.
I've seen that.
I need a lightsaber.
For real.
That would be cool.
It's amazing. And I guess that's what's the kindest thing. So we have sci-fi, and obviously the prayer this week is going to be considered religious bullshit, because prayer just doesn't work the same as sci-fi. How do people really find ways? How can you recreate anything like prayer to work?
Now, wait a minute. Hold on.
What you got, Adam?
Hold on. Take a deep breath and relax. The Force is a religion. Okay? And the Force is always constant and moving.
Make the Force bring me my Jägermeister because I'm out.
Yeah.
But there is a religion of the Jedi. And that's
you can be Jedi in the army.
So.
You can have Jedi put on your dog tag. That doesn't make it any more real than Christianity or Catholicism or anything else. You can say anything you want to say, but that doesn't make it real.
No, but one of the cool things that I did want to say is that regardless of whatever anybody believes or not, everybody loves Star Wars. And everybody is, in their own sense, their own Jedi.
It's an inspirational.
How cool is that?
Tale. And it's one of the sci-fi series I mentioned in our promo from last month, and I made it clear. Even with Star Wars, so if we're talking about the Force, that's going to fall on the religious bullshit side of things. But if you want to talk about the lightsabers, hyperdrives, that kind of thing.
But you have to remember, parsecs are not really measures of time.
Exactly. But, there's some things that Star Trek got wrong, too, when it came to, gravitational pull and dampeners. But, they were on the right track, at least. They were at least moving forward with a thought, and it was open to reinterpretation and fixing it to actually finding a way to make it... hell, we got hoverboards, for fuck's sake.
And we have self-tying shoes. Nike has introduced self-tying shoes. So we are on the way. Now if we can find...
Hell, I'm still happy with a microwave.
And you know what? That is thank you sci-fi as well. Now, I want to see Fifth Element. Y'all remember when cute little Lilu with her orange hair?
Oh, I remember.
Really
I love
and she got out that big platter, put a pill on it, put it in the machine, and 2 seconds later she had a whole chicken.
Multi-pass.
Badass.
Multi-pass. I love that part.
Chicken. So good. I love that film. I mean, there's just so much we can do with sci-fi fantasy. Because while it is a fantasy, the concepts are approachable for the most part. Now, can we do a Doctor Who type of thing?
Not yet.
Traveling in a TARDIS?
Hopefully one day
Probably
we will.
Not. I think maybe that's a wormhole kind of thing. I don't know how,
Well, I have to say, as a cast, except for with the exception of maybe Adam, we've all been reading the physics of Star Trek, and Lawrence Krauss is the shit when it comes to explaining all the nuances of sci-fi.
Oh, I know.
And
love it.
Yeah, so...
He really breaks it down. He gives you this real appreciation, and Asimov did the same. So did Arthur C. Clarke. A lot of H.G. Wells, even Orwell. They understood that while what they are writing might be pure fiction, at least it was in a realm of reality.
Of possibility.
That we could test these things and try to physically work with the materials we had to create these things. Whereas with the Bible, it's a supernatural force. We have no way to even access the materials for that.
And most of the things were, like, antediluvian. So there's no way we can even test to see if they are true because they're so old-fashioned and out of date that there's no way we could even try.
And I mean, there's always going to be some parts of sci-fi that are, like, utter bullshit. Like you have with Farscape and Moya. I don't know if we'd ever actually find the equivalent of a space whale to ride around in and not be digested alive. And
right. And the navigators, I don't think we'll ever find a biological symbiont that's able to become one with the ship and navigate us around.
Or even like Avatar, I mean, they kind of say there's a way to do an Avatar kind of thing. I think they're working on that.
If any one of you has a crossword about R2-D2, I'll slap you both.
Why?
I don't know why there'd be a bad thing. Why couldn't R2-D2 exist? He's a possibility in the realm. I mean, we already have those nurses in China that are completely electronic that sit there by the bedside. Have you seen those? They look completely human. They respond to questions, and it's crazy cool. It's still, in the works, but it's there. It's coming forward. They just had recently that artificial intelligence program that co-authored a book.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
It co-authored a book That's crazy.
That is crazy cool.
But it's these are things, though, that even though we have fantasy, it's based in our realm of reality as far as materials and science.
And I think that science fiction gives people aspirations to work towards. They give people things to say, oh, I can do that. I know how to prove that. I can make an inertial dampener. I know how we can travel through the cosmos with an inertial dampener so that we don't all die whenever the ship speeds up.
Whenever we hit the gas.
Yeah.
Immediately splattered on the back of our chair. It's such a simple concept, but it's such a huge concept all at the same time.
If you don't have an inertial dampener, you're going to die whenever the ship speeds up enough to make it past light speed so that you don't age before you get anywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to be I mean, if somebody could come up with that, it would be incredible. We would be able to travel through the universe, but I don't see it happening. But it gives us something to aspire to. It gives us something to work towards. And I think that's the good thing about science fiction.
Yeah, and it's rooted in accessible
science. It's rooted in accessible science that we can do something. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Atom Fusion came up with the next Data. I bet he's working on it at home, except she's female and he can fuck her.
She really likes to drop her dust and say, oops.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, that's an awesome movie reference. I love Pluto Nash. That's a fun movie.
That is fun. And they had nanobots, in that movie.
They did.
I'm over here calibrating how fast I can get you to Pluto on this maximum speed vibrator.
We knew you were. That's why we gave you the French-made nanobot.
Well, I mean, you saw already, and we all remember Demolition Man. Remember the sex? How ridiculous their version of sex was? And
oh, there you go again. You're all about the sex.
Sex is the building blocks of the world.
At least our good mood, anyway.
Listen, I don't mean to change the subject, but I have been alone for almost 3 weeks now, and I have been...
This is going to happen, people. You had to hear it. It's going down now. Here it is. I had to listen to it earlier. Now it's your turn. Ladies and gentlemen,
I've been binging on BBC comedies, and I don't know how any of those people have sex. I mean, they talk about it all the time, but they seem too proper to have sex. I mean, for real. Has anybody ever watched Keeping Up Appearances with Mrs. Bouquet? She says she has a son, but at some point she had to have sex, and I don't know when she did. Because she's too proper to have sex. I mean, she has matching wallpaper and comforter. How does somebody
watch movies like Doc Martin? Have you watched that show?
No, I haven't watched Doc Martin.
It's an excellent, excellent movie or show. I love that show. But he eventually has a kid, and it's just like, I just don't see him putting his penis in anything. I agree. It's just like, I don't see how this happened.
But I mean, I know...
You see what I have to deal with, people? Continue on.
That's because you get laid regularly. Shut up, Adam.
Yeah, shut up.
Yes, I do.
You can bury your face in a vagina at any time. It has been so long since I've had a face buried in my vagina, I don't even know what to do.
Wow.
Well, they might have a solution from that. Demolition Man. Remember those virtual reality headset?
I've never seen Demolition Man. I have to.
It was between Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone was in this movie, and she was really got the hots.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone from a nice vaginas to Demolition Man.
Well, it's a good movie because, I mean, they have virtual reality sex and pleasure. It's all neurally stimulated, which we're not that far away from probably being able to do that either.
Well, that's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he goes to Mars. What's the name of that one?
Oh, Total Recall.
Total Recall, yeah. In the new Total Recall, the guy goes to the Total Recall.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Y'all both need to get laid big time.
He's like, this has to do with implanting his memories.
Right, and that's not that far off. And I hope
it's a reality.
I hope they hurry up and come up with implanted memories because I am so sex starved that I would take an implanted memory right now.
You see?
We just need a holodeck, and we could.
Yeah, a holodeck.
Holodeck with a bunch of holodecks.
The Ferengi holodeck. What is holosuite? Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah, the holosuite.
Yeah, Quark's holosuite.
Awesome.
That's what I need. Quark's holosuite.
Yes. He had one of the best ones on the station.
Yeah, and Jake tried to go on it with Rom, and Commander Sisko found out about it, and he would have nothing to do with it, so it must be really good. It must be really good.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Unbuckling the Bible Belt. We're discussing everything you can think of.
We're still
in sci-fi. You know what a holosuite is?
Sci-fi.
Do you know what? You can go on there and
no
have
clue.
sex with a Dabo girl if you want to, as many times.
Or you can...
A Dabo
Dog
girl.
girl? Is that what you said? You said dog girl?
Dabo. It's
What the
a
hell
game
is
that
that?
you play on DS9. It's like, it's kind of like
What the hell is DS9?
Deep
Space Nine on Star Trek. It's kind of like roulette.
Oh, for fuck's
You play
sake.
Dabo, and the Dabo girls are real sexy, and you go in the holosuite and you have sex with the Dabo girls in a virtual reality situation. It's really nice.
What kind of sci-fi do you get into, Adam?
I really don't get into, like... Are y'all getting into some sexual
What
sci-fi?
about regular
I don't
sci-fi?
go
Did you
there.
ever like Battlestar Galactica? Did you? What
Farscape.
shows did you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what's some of the
Absolutely.
technology?
Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, a little bit of Star Trek. I wasn't a big Trekkie, but, you know, I was like Star Wars. I would go back in my home, you know, after watching shit on the VCR and recreate
Did you
stuff
ever watch
on Legos.
stuff like Metropolis or maybe, I don't know, Daybreakers,
No.
Daywalkers was good. They had all kinds of really neat science fiction films. Running Man, you ever watch that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's sci-fi all day long. And there's a lot of that even like with Minority Report. They do have Minority Report style of prediction of crime now where they're trying to catch people ahead of time. I'm kind of bothered by that, you know? I agree with the original author.
Yeah, because I think about killing a bunch of bitches all the time.
Yeah, exactly. But are we going to try and predict that behavior ahead of time and then arrest you before you've had a chance?
And I'm serious about it whenever I think about killing these bitches. I am serious about it, but I would never really go through with it.
Or what about Logan's Run? You guys ever watch Logan's Run?
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite movies. And we're really close to having that type of a learning style where you like have the proteins just fed in through an IV. That's crazy. But they're working on it. So,
Well, I would have to say, as a teacher, I am all for that.
Whether you be out of a job.
Listen, I'm okay with that. I have good retirement.
Or at least you'd have to learn how to put an IV in.
No.
I'll learn that shit.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, so if we want to learn something new, like with the Matrix, you know, they plug that big thing into the back of your skull, which I don't think would work, but it's either that or you pray for divine knowledge.
And you're not going to get divine knowledge. I'm sorry. You have to work for it.
I understand where you're going with this. You were like participating in the fact that you can create future thoughts and put toward technological advantages towards
whereas
that.
how can we do that with the Bible or the Quran, really?
You
I mean,
can't.
do we really think we can develop a system
Never.
where we could put two brown animals in front of a striped stick, make them fuck, and they have a zebra? Can we do that?
No, but Christians think you
We
can.
never do that.
No, but if you're uneducated, you think you can. You think that's how it
The Red
works.
Sea with just a prayer and a stick.
You think that's how it works, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even remotely come up with a way to create that? It's just impossible. Whereas, oh, well, you know, maybe we can create some type of a gravitational field that can start spreading molecules apart, and eventually we can make that to where it'll spread floodwaters apart so we can rescue people. That might be able to happen. But a stick and just pray to God and
Or
happens?
sonic waves that will separate water, that will...
Now,
that
I
will pull
will
apart
say,
waters.
when we're talking about sonic waves, if we talk about, we all know the story of Jericho and the walls falling down, right?
Right. Jericho marched around the walls 7 times and they fell.
And they use the horns, those shitty horns.
Right, they use those shitty horns.
They use shitty horns to make in the Jericho's walls, I mean, I wrote a story. I rewrote part of the biblical story of Christ, and that's in there. And Jericho's walls weren't just like some shitty mud brick walls around a crappy little 2-star village. I mean, Jericho was a happening place.
No, I want to back up a second. Now, we were talking about this technological advances. Do you not think that there's the artistic forms that we envision that progress these advantages and, education and technological stuff?
Yeah, I think
What about
that's
it?
a big part of it.
I think that they're possible. I think that they're completely possible. I think that prosthetics are advancing in a direction that are similar to AI.
Bionics, yeah.
Yeah.
We've already got bionics. We've got it.
Right. I think
It's just
that
getting our body to not reject. We've got that going on too.
Right.
We're still working on.
I think that art is progressing towards a reality every day. There was a time when something like Data from Star Trek The Next Generation was completely fictional. And I bet in the next 10 years, Japan will come up with data similarity without any questions. I mean, it'll be able to perform just like Data will, or did in TNG. I bet it will work. I think art is going to become a reality very soon in the near future.
And that's how a lot of it is. Like those stupid paperboard clips that they used on the original Star Trek back in the day. A lot of them used handheld computers. Even before Star Trek, even Lost in Space had handheld, tablets. And look what we got now. Christ, there are phones. We've even got computers now. It's like I've got a Microsoft Yoga 2. I can run my Adobe software on that. It's not an Android-based system. It's an OS. And it has the power to play Minecraft, go kill shit on Diablo 2, and I can also edit photography, do Audacity on there. It's a computer, and it's maybe an 8x11 size sheet of paper, and it's only maybe a little over half an inch thick.
Right, and I have an iPhone, and it's amazing that I can just touch the screen in a certain part, and it will type a letter. I mean, that in itself is very amazing comparative to what Star Trek, the original series, thought we would have. I mean, they thought we would have some little flip stereophonic communicators that we would have that would do one-way communication, and now we can type text, we can send, I get coupons, I get texts, I get everything from all over the world on my phone that is like...
You see phasers. What do you think our phasers are in reality today, guys?
Lasers?
I don't know, but I get porn.
Kill setting. We don't have a kill setting yet.
Lasers. I mean, they're just lasers that are... That's
phasers,
what I think.
Even more than that. Right now, we have tasers.
Right. We have tasers. And
we have tasers. Set to stun. Okay.
They just don't project their energy into a space.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very compact. They have to be used within a certain space. But we do have tasers.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's art becoming reality right there.
Exactly. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then you look at what, and that's just because, it all started from complete fiction. And this fiction, these stories of space travel, let's just say in recent history with actual mechanics, was what, over the last maybe
20 years?
800 years. Oh, no, I'm talking a while. People talk about flying to the moon in machines of some kind. Not 800 years. Well, I guess Da Vinci's time, because he was trying to get a fucking plane. He was trying to get a plane to work. So, I mean, we've progressed so rapidly, even in the last 20 years, compared to how long has the Bible supposedly been around?
2,000 years.
And then if we look at their story, they're claiming that this shit's existed for 6,000 years.
Right.
And what have we got to show for it?
Not a lot.
Physical concrete to show for it. What of that science in that book have we harnessed?
Here's the question. If we had not had that book, how much science would we have harnessed?
I don't know. I think we still would have gone with superstition on some level.
Yeah, but I think it would have. We would have been much further along scientifically than we are now. We wouldn't have had the Dark Ages. We wouldn't have had the 1920s, whenever people were relying on the book to get them through the Depression. We would have had so many opportunities to advance scientifically that we wouldn't have needed the book.
Used it politically to control us all. Yeah, absolutely. Politics definitely hinders science. I mean, we see that even in the U.S. Our country doesn't put squat towards science like it should.
Right.
At all. Like the space exploration,
that's dying out.
I know. It's like, why are we not putting money into this? I don't understand why we don't.
I don't understand why. Because people think that we've reached the moon and that's as far as we can go. They don't understand how far the universe reaches. People don't have any concept.
What else can we find? What else can we find out there we can use? It's just a constant.
Right.
Questioning, and that's something, I guess, if it's not that, it would have been a plague. It's hard to say. There's so many things to hold us back. So many different political priorities above science and progression.
But the political priorities always play back to the Bible. I mean, any political priority that you find will be retraced back to biblical reasons for not progressing beyond that.
Well, yeah, because you see what happens when you explore thought. How many people have been killed and maimed and tortured and ran for their lives for exploring things? A guy by the name of Stuart Huff is a really good comedian if anybody ever watches him. He explains it. He talks about one guy, he wrote a book about how he didn't think we were the center of the universe and that the world rotates. Or no, he did a thing about the human body and how it functions. Not only did they, drag him around and hang him to death, before he was dead, they nailed his book to the base of his spine. Okay?
Oh my God.
I'm just and we still have shit like that today. Not necessarily that severe, but people get ousted from communities, they get alienated, they get shut down because science means
nothing.
Autonomy. And if you have autonomy, that means big government has less complete control, and they don't want to have that happen because that means change, and change is really hard on a population,
Right.
But it's just one of those things. It kills me when I see how much we don't invest in science like we could be.
And that's why I say, if we didn't have the Bible, we would be much further along scientifically than we are now, because we would have invested in science rather than the church. Because think about all the money that goes to the church that is untaxed, that is unmanaged. It just goes toward the church to do with whatever they please. And if we had that money going towards science, going to universal exploration, we wouldn't need inertial dampeners by now. We would have a reason for inertial dampeners.
We'd have a hell of a lot nicer of a space station up in the orbit right now.
Right, to that shitty place.
And probably a lot less trash, too, because they'd find a way to slim it down and streamline it.
Right.
I don't think people realize how much trash is actually floating around
all those
right now.
Satellites that are no longer used.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ridiculous how much trash is floating around the planet right now. And people think that global warming is the only thing that we have to think about. We have so much trash around the planet. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's I don't know how they launch anything up into orbit yet. I guess it's not that bad that they can get up there, but at some point there's going to be so much in the way. I don't see them getting into orbit.
If somebody wants to come up with a cosmic sanitation department, I think they would make a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, they better not take clues from Futurama on how to do that. All right, guys. Well, next week we'll have another discussion, and I think we're going to be discussing hoverboards versus walking on water.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun.
All right, well,
so guys, we'll catch y'all next week. Hopefully Adam's still awake.
Nope.
All right, everybody. Have a great week.
That'll do it for this week's episode. We've gone through lots of changes, and we want to make sure that you're up to date with us. Check us out at our new and improved webpage, www.unbucklingthebiblebelt.com. Follow us on Twitter using the handles UTBBP, Sharon Bush UTBB, Bluegrass Skep, Joe Kendick, and Adam Fusion, spelled Phuzen. If you'd like to contact us through email, you can do that at utbbppodcast@gmail.com. If you really like us and you want to give us money, you can do that at PayPal using our email address, or at Patreon using the web address www.patreon.com/UTBB. And if you'd like to support us, but you find your pockets aren't quite as deep as you'd like them to be, you can just leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes or Stitcher. Now, let's bow our head for the atheist prayer. O nobody's Father who art nowhere, I know that you can't hear me. Completely ignore this prayer. Nothing art thou, and nothing will thy ever be. Jesus was just a man. A man.